our bishop actually has recovered from some fun events. And would you like to kind of talk about that?
Well, I was just feeling neglected, so I had a little episode so I could get some attention.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us again for the Word of Life podcast, where we get with our leaders and we're trying to let you get to know who we are as a church. Today we're honored to have Bishop Smith with us after his short hiatus, and we're glad to have Pastor Eric with us. He is our administrative pastor. If anybody has the biblical gift of administration, it is Pastor Eric.
Apostle Eric.
Apostle, yeah. I mean, the guy reminds me of God in that small little book that's in the Bible that most people, Genesis, where he creates everything in an orderly fashion. Wow. Just reminds me of Pastor Eric so much because Pastor Eric can go into a room of complete disarray and just cause order and things to fall into place. So we just really appreciate him and for what he brings here to Word of Life. Also, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and share so that everybody can see what God is doing here at Word of Life. We've got some amazing things going on, some really cool things going on in the works. And so we just thank you for supporting us and for being here. If you need anything, please contact us. Go to our website at WOLSC, as in South Carolina, .church. And we'd love to hear from you and see what God's doing in your life and how this ministry is affecting you. Today, we're going to be talking with Pastor Eric. Now, Pastor Eric, we want to find out a little bit about you. Where do you come from? Where have you been? Your life story.
Oh, my goodness.
As short as you can make it.
All right. I'll try my best. Actually, I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. My family moved to South Carolina when I was 7.
So are you related to Ben Franklin?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not. But we do favor each other, just a little.
Yeah.
But anyway, born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We moved here in Sumter, South Carolina, and stayed there until 2005 and moved here in Greenville. And been teaching for 38 years. I got a wonderful wife, Christine Johnson. 2 adult children, actually 3, Eric, Kiana, and Chris. Got a couple of grandchildren, and like I said, been teaching for 38 years as a math teacher. Was an administrator for 4 years as AD and assistant principal, and have been the administrator here for the last 5 or 6 years.
Cool. I have ADHD. So, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah. So, just a little bit more about yourself. How did you end up coming to Word of Life?
Actually, Amy and Richard Schrader actually brought me in one Wednesday night. I think Deacon Schrader and I came, I think at an 11 o'clock service, something like that.
Okay.
And then I was really interested in coming to the morning service. And I started there in 2010. So really, Amy and Richard Schrader are the reason why my whole family's here.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. And so you said you have 3 kids?
Yeah. Adults, they're really adults. Kiana and Chris are actually married, but I call Chris, he's my son-in-law, but really he's my son. And I have Eric Jr. and 2 grandkids, and my whole entire family's here at Word of Life.
Okay, amazing. And then you and Christine, how did y'all...
Met her through her brother, and met her through her brother in 1985.
Wow.
And so we dated for 5 years, and we've been married since 1990.
Wow.
Yeah.
1990.
The best move I ever made in my life, other than knowing Christ and accepting Christ. So I'm really, really blessed. She's an awesome lady.
She is very awesome. She's also kind of like you. She can kind of walk into a building full of disarray and...
Absolutely.
And set everything in order.
She
does that to you. I was going to say, she does that to you.
Yes.
And so, and then, then you have your grandchildren. I heard somebody say that people think you learn more about God as a parent, but you really get to know God as a grandparent.
Yes.
Because, it's kind of the same deal.
Yeah. Well, I spoil mine rotten, too.
Oh, yeah.
I do. But they're so precious, 2-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Yeah, man, those, and just real quick, we don't want to deviate too far from this because Pastor Eric, again, we're going to be talking to him a little bit about how he helps in the church administration and leadership. But our bishop actually has recovered from some fun events. And would you like to kind of talk about that?
Well, I was just feeling neglected, so I had a little episode so I could get some attention, and just had my AFib. I've had it for years, and Wednesday night after church, had a great service, and went home, had a little AFib thing going on. Not unusual, especially Sunday and Wednesday, and went to bed. By 11:30, woke up with my heart rate, my watch going off, alarming me, and my heart rate up. So anyway, got to get the paddle deal and shock it back into rhythm the next day, and stay a couple of nights in the hospital. But we're back and wide open.
You said AFib. You should try telling the truth instead of AFib. I wish we had crickets on this thing. So, so anyway, but no, we're glad to see you out and about and doing well, because that was really scary for Pastor Jeannie and us being part of the family. And but yeah, we're glad to see you out and about. He only took one day off from that. He was right back in the saddle last night for church on Wednesday night. So that was amazing. And so the reason we kind of bring that up is because Bishop has the ability, and he feels comfortable with being able to leave now with the proper staff in place, proper leadership in his church. Again, men like Pastor Eric, Pastor Mel, Pastor Megan, and Jeannie.
Pastor
and
Tim.
Well, I can't toot my own horn on the podcast. So
Yeah, I was going to speak Sunday, and Tim said, "No, you're not. I've already got it covered. You've got it going."
Yeah, we did. And Pastor Eric spoke, and again, did a tremendous job. If you haven't seen it, go back to the archive and watch it, just like all the other videos that we make here at Word of Life. Thank you, Tom and Virginia, our media
Thank
department.
you, Tom and Virginia.
Thank you guys.
Who actually this was kind of their whole concept of the podcast and everything, and kind of put everything together. So they're absolutely amazing. Again, having the proper staff. So both of you guys, you've been a lot in the school system, and then you, Bishop, has been preaching and church ministry for many, many, many years. What you would say is how to build a successful team here? Let's just start in ministry, because that's what we're all doing.
I was sharing with Pastor Eric, was talking about the podcast and all. My dad was a pastor all of my life, and pastored in Oklahoma, Texas, Georgia, all over. And one thing he told me when I started out, well, two things he told me. The first thing he told me, son, don't invite anybody to speak that's better than you are. And then the second thing he told me is to get a good secretary. He said, before you hire staff, before you do anything, you need somebody who is going to be able to help with the finances. Because a lot of ministers, for whatever reason, they think they're financial, people. They think they're builders, contractors, everything, as being a pastor. And he said where a lot of ministers mess up is with the finances, even if unintentionally, you just don't keep good records or whatever, and you can get messed up real quick. So he said you need a secretary to, number one, help keep records on the finances and oversee that, to protect you and to protect the church. And secondly, for communication, you need somebody to do newsletters, bulletins, just kind of to keep the communication going in the church, because that is key to anything you've got going on. Marriage, communication, business, communication, church, communication. Where so many problems come in is where communication falls. And so my dad had always told me that you need that person. So that was the first thing we did before we had a full-time youth pastor. I was barely full-time, and we wound up hiring somebody to come in a couple of days a week and do the deposits, do the finances, paying the bills, and doing the newsletter and stuff like that. And then it just kind of grew the staff from there.
Okay, Pastor Eric, what have you seen in your years of experience? What have you seen in what it takes to really build a good team?
For me, coming from the public school system, and actually even the private school system, is number one, I think, is equipping the folks that you're going to place in important positions. And sometimes I've learned this, that sometimes you have to do the work yourself initially to get some folks trained and then turn them loose and let them do the job. That's probably one of the most challenging things to do, is because you got to be very, very selective, and I guess use discernment to determine what a person's talent is and then expound on that. But sometimes you do have to do the work yourself, but you're not doing it permanently. You're just trying to get it set up so once it gets going, you're training your people up now. What you can do now, all you got to do is manage.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I love about Word of Life, and I love about Bishop is, which is great. He'll give me instructions, but he doesn't tell me how to do things.
Right.
So, okay, this is what I want to accomplish, and then we move from there. And to equip people, I think that's the key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let me say this: you're talking about finding people's giftings. Pastor Eric has an ability to see things in people. We've had people who've been here for years, just kind of floating, or you say or whatever. And Pastor Eric's like, I see this or da, and he'll have them plugged in, and they'll be like, thank you, sir, may I have another? He has them plugged in and is able to spot talents and gifts in people and get them operating in those. It's just amazing. That's one of, besides just teaching the word and giving the word, one of the great gifts I see in him is recognizing gifting in people.
Absolutely. And then as well as Pastor Eric does the School of Ministry, where we also equip people, like what you were saying. We take people through the scriptures in a year, and then we have a couple of other academics that you go through. Matter of fact, we just got done teaching about fivefold ministry. And so, Pastor Eric, you're real big on educating people in the Word. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I give an example for the School of Ministry, and actually this is a great opportunity. Initially, when Pastor given that responsibility to myself and then to you, we really it was designed to train up ministers to help in the youth department, and there's a great number. The youth department this year has increased by 49%. That is a tremendous number. And right now, I think we roughly have about 75, 76, somewhere in there, of folks who's either going through getting their license or in the process of. And one of the expectations is to get those same folks to come in and actually work in the youth department, or I should say in the education department, because it's from 0 to 22, really.
Yeah.
And so with that in mind, that is a tremendous responsibility, but being organized, setting this program, setting the ministry, School of Ministry up to accomplish with the needs of the assembly is tremendous. But I have to say this too. I think because we now have people who have spent 2 years studying, and majority of the folks that's in the education department have gone through the School of Ministry, is adding to it. Because you got people who are confident. Okay, wait a minute. I can teach. I can just teach the word. Yeah. And so, to me, I think that's just a powerful thing that we've been able to accomplish.
Yeah,
it's a blessing.
Yeah, I think one of the latest statistics. I think Barna did it, and they said people that spend 4 days a week in the scriptures, it increases their confidence in sharing the gospel 200%. Just 4 days a week, which is crazy. Could you imagine doing something every day?
Wow.
Well, and on that too, I think it might have been that same study they were talking about the psychological effects of being in the Word. The ones that were like, I think it's 4 days a week or less or more. The depression was just minimal to zero. A lot of the anxiety, all those things that people deal with, said people who are in the Word more deal with those situations less.
And then there was a lot of healing done to their minds, because there's parts of the brain where you can see different addictions affect different parts of the brain. And these people spending, I think it was 4 days a week in the Word outside of your church services, it actually healed their brain in those addiction areas. Actually brought healing to the brain. So.
I'll tell you a rough number, just a rough estimate. We have roughly about 15% of the adult population that's, like I said, either gone through the School of Ministry or currently working through it.
Wow.
That is a tremendous number of folks that's in the assembly. Yeah. And then I think about the effect that they have on the rest of the congregation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's tremendous.
Yep.
That's awesome. And I wanted to. We're talking about staff and people. We had a staff member years ago that taught me a very important lesson, and that is people need to see themselves represented. Mm-hmm. And if we got any, I had lunch with a pastor yesterday, and I was sharing it with him. He's trying to revive a church that just about closed down when he took it, And I was telling him what this person shared with me that revolutionized I was in ministry 20-something years, and he told me this, and that is people want to see themselves represented in the leadership of that church. If you want to appeal to young people, then young people need to see there's a place for them there. If you want to appeal to ethnic groups, if you want to appeal to different things, they've got to see themselves. You can't just have one flavor or one age or one whatever. And I tell you what, for me, we've been, I guess, multicultural a long time.
My entire life.
Yeah. To me, it is more difficult to have a multi-generational congregation than it is a multicultural generation. Multicultural, I don't know, I guess it's where I'm at in life. I don't even think about that anymore. But the tolerance to intolerance over music, over worship, ministry styles, worship styles, all that stuff, and it's hard to do but we try to let the young people be represented in leadership. Let the young people. Now I'm at the age where my children. I said, what do we need to do about this? Because I don't think like a 30-year-old, and
I don't either.
I definitely don't think like a 20-year-old. And so it's to me, I think those lines are even more. The differences in a decade are even more now than they were when I was 20. And but they see themselves, and then to say that doesn't mean that you put people up because of whatever different diversity they are without a standard. They've got to be living a good life. You don't just put somebody up there because you want a representative. You've got to make sure they're living a good life and that they're going by the standards and the values of that ministry. So it's a juggling act to do that.
Absolutely. So again, if you haven't, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share to make sure everybody can see what's going on here at Word of Life. And again, if you are interested in going through the Word of Life School of Ministry, please come see us at the Welcome Home Center, and we'll be able to get you signed up. And we only try to do it for people in Word of Life because we go through things that we personally believe. I guess you'd say doctrine for this house. Yes. And one of the biggest things for us is the Word. Pastor Eric's real big on that. I'm real big on that. That's because our leader, Pastor Smith, is very big on the Word, on the Scriptures. And so that's one of the things we kind of bathe you in. Absolutely. You are baptized in the fire of the Word. We try to go through the Bible within a year in the School of Ministry, and that's a book a week we try to take everybody through. So, yeah. And like when you get to Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel, those are long weeks. That's a lot you try to crunch in. And then you got the small prophets, or the minor prophets, as some people call them, because they're like one or two chapters, so that's not so bad. But anyway, if you have not, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Please comment, let us know what you think and how God is touching your life. And this has been Pastor Tim with Bishop Smith and Pastor Eric with the Word of Life podcast. Thank you.